Hello! In this video I want to explain to you the weirdest theories about the fall of Rome. And before I explain to you the weirdest theory, in my personal opinion, that I heard about the fall of Rome, I want to emphasize some of the theories that are usually to be found in historical literature. For example, those on the right side of the political spectrum like to emphasize barbaric migrations and a huge welfare system that existed in Rome, while those on the left emphasize slavery as something that kept Romans away from technological progress and also religious conflicts. But what is interesting is that in the late Roman Empire, in the same way in which the Christians were prosecuted, the pagans were prosecuted as well. But okay, I'll come to that point a bit later in this video. So before I explain to you this weird theory that claims that Christianity caused the fall of Rome, I want to tell you what are the usual theories about the fall of Rome. So if we look at the crisis of the 3rd century, what was happening? Well, at the same time Rome was attacked by Persia, a Persia that now became stronger. There were barbaric invasions, civil wars, all of that led to demographic decline. Then there was the civil war, the Roman Empire collapsed into multiple empires, went to war with each other, and then the plague occurred and caused additional demographic decline. The Roman empires mixed gold with ordinary metals, thus creating inflation. Barbaric invasions, of course, did not help, and Romans were forced to use the barbarians as their military, which in the long run destabilized the entire empire, because the barbarians were more loyal to their tribe than to the state of Rome. And the Huns, of course, were a very nasty enemy for the Romans, because the Romans never had a strong cavalry, and Attila, like the Mongol warriors that came after him, like Genghis Khan, had a very strong cavalry, and the Huns also had very strong bows. So they were a very uncomfortable enemy for the Romans. And also the fact that the Roman Empire did not have a stable inheritance system did not help. So how were the emperors appointed? They could be either appointed by the previous emperor, by the Senate, or by the legions. And if we take that into account, it is not really that surprising that there were almost constant wars about the constant wars in the Roman Empire for power, for who gets to be the next emperor. Now, when it comes to Christianity, this weird theory, why would Christianity cause the fall of Rome? Well, some explanations make no sense, in my humble opinion. For example, Heinrich Himmler, the boss of SS in Nazi Germany, believed that Christianity caused the fall of Rome because it was too pacifistic. But that really doesn't make a lot of sense if we take into account the medieval societies that were also Christian, but were not pacifist at all. A theory that actually makes sense is kind of weird, but bear with me. So Christianity caused multiple things to occur at once. The first Christian emperor, Constantine, he passed a law that actually forbid men from having their sex slaves in the same house as their wives. So this law was not given in order to stop slavery. The point was to make wives feel better and less jealous of the sex slaves, which then led to demographic decline, because an average guy at the time could not afford to have two houses, so he could not keep his sex slaves in a separate house. But okay, what happens after Constantine takes power in the early 4th century, after the Battle of the Milvian Bridge? And by the way, Constantine used to worship Mithra, the sun god, before he became a Christian and before he won at the Milvian Bridge. And according to Eusebius, he saw a cross in the sky, and that is when he made a deal with the Christian god. If you grant me victory over Maxentius, I will Christianize the empire. And I do think that that part is fictional, that that part is a legend, although there is a theory that he saw a solar halo in the sky. This weird phenomenon that produces crosses in the sky. He maybe even did so. A solar halo in the sky, we don't know. But okay, what happened? Why did that process of Christianization in the end weaken the empire? Well, what Constantine wanted was for Christianity to be a religion like Islam, where the emperor is the main priest, like the caliph, or like in the Eastern Roman Empire, where the emperor was also in charge of the church, de facto. But that did not happen. Christianity did not become a religion like Islam. There was a split of power between the church and between the emperor. And why would that be a problem? Well, in the long run, I would argue that was good. The fact that there was a split of power between the emperor and the pope, the main priest in Christianity. That split, in the end, Peter Brown argues, actually led to secularism. And in the Roman Empire, that split began, and that same split actually existed in medieval times, and it was reflected in the conflict of the Holy Roman Empire, which was essentially medieval Germany, and the Pope. But in the short run, that weakened the authority of the emperor. And not only did that aspect actually weaken the authority of the emperor, but as Voltaire famously said, the early Christian heresies destroyed this idea that Constantine had about Christianity unifying the empire with its belief in universal brotherhood of all humans, which was a very powerful idea that could have united this huge multicultural empire. But that was not the case. Why? Well, because the early Christian heresies occurred. The Arian heresy. The Arians, named after the bishop Arius, claimed that the Father is more powerful than the Son, and that the Son is not eternal. So Arius rejected the concept of the Holy Trinity. And what's kind of funny is that the Vandals and the Langobards, some of the most brutal barbarians that pillaged Rome, they did not hate the Romans because they were pagan and the Romans were Christians. No, the Vandals actually were converted to Arianism by pure accident. Their first contact with Christianity was Arianism, and that is why they became Arians. And they saw the Nicene Creed, what is considered to be a rightful Christianity today. They saw the Christians as heretics in the same way in which normal Christians saw them as heretics. So that is why barbarians were often so violent towards the Romans. It was the early Christian heresies that destroyed Roman society. Many would argue, and the Donatist heresy also did not help. So this weird African heresy actually claimed that all the priests that collaborated with the pagan authorities at the time when Christians were persecuted but were not legitimate priests, and that therefore all the Christians baptized by them were not really Christians. And from Constantine's perspective, that was a very dangerous belief, because then it would delegitimize Christianity and force many Christians to not see themselves as Christians, which is why Constantine he started to violently kill all the Donatists. And if that violence between Christians was not enough, there was also a lot of violence towards the pagans in the Roman Empire, and the destruction of the Serapeum is the best example of the Christian violence towards the pagans in the Roman Empire. And all that violence completely destabilized the empire, and also led to additional demographic decline that ended up destroying one of the most powerful empires in the world. Okay, so if you like this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more videos like this.